So this is one of the games that I've spent the most time thinking about. Number 13, South Dakota State Jackrabbits. They're 30-4, the Summit League champs, versus number 4 Providence, 25-5 out of the Big East. I love Providence this year. However, I just interviewed Eric Henderson, the South Dakota State head coach, 2 weeks ago because I've watched them quite a bit. It's one of the most fun teams in college basketball to watch. Providence just 2-point favorites in this. Think about that. A 13-4 game, and they're only 2-point favorites. So South Dakota State, the number 1 3-point shooting team in college basketball. What have I talked about in both pods, right? If you can shoot the 3, watch out. And the thing is, it's not just one guy. They do have Baylor Shireman. He's the Summit League Player of the Year, 6'6" guard out of Nebraska. He's an NBA player. This kid is outstanding. Go look up when South Dakota State beat Washington State earlier this year. Baylor Shireman on a buzzer beater literally broke the ankle of the Washington State kid, like just destroyed this kid on a shimmy fadeaway from Damian Lillard range. Ridiculous. This guy's unbelievable. They also have a guy named Douglas Wilson, who's been the Summit League Player of the Year in years past. Shireman, this year's Player of the Year. And then they've got a kid down the middle, Luke Apple. So I talked about this with Eric Henderson, their head coach, a couple of weeks ago. Number 1 3-point shooting team in the country. Well, Oral Roberts, same conference, by the way, went to the Sweet 16 last year. Oral Roberts, last game of the season, tried to shut down a 3, did a pretty good job. But Luke Apple, who's a 6'8", 6'9" guy that plays the 5, a little undersized, but 41 points. So what that says is, cool, you want to shut down the guards, no problem. We have a guy in the post that we can feed it underneath, and he's more than capable of beating your big man one-on-one. And so I love it. You want to talk about Providence shooting the 3, South Dakota State number 1, Providence just number 146. Now, they've got a little bit more size, so they're going to be able to work the ball underneath. But I just think if you've got a team that's keep filling up threes, battling that with 2s isn't going to do it. Another thing I do love about South Dakota State, number 34 in the country in free throw percentage. So if this is a close game, Providence just number 145. I mean, Ed Cooley, Coach of the Year. Trust me, Providence is a team capable of getting to the Elite 8. It is a really good team. South Dakota State, however, I think they're this year's Oral Roberts. I think they have the capability to get a Sweet 16 run in. So I'm going Jackrabbits +2. This is one of those ones going to live or die on this one, but my whole bracket kind of rests on this game because I like South Dakota State getting through. I don't see a lot of other people who know them as well as I do. I mean, talked to their head coach for an hour last week, so got maybe a little bit more information than the average guy. Roll with the Jackrabbits. So another game in the South bracket involving a mid-major, number 13 Chattanooga Mocs versus number 4 Illinois Fighting Illini. Illinois 7.5-point favorites in this game. And so I put some thought into this. After seeing Chattanooga winning the SoCon, on an improbable buzzer beater by David Jean-Baptiste. If you haven't seen it, go look the clip up or go listen to one of my previous 2 pods where I played the clip and talked about it. Shot of the year. They're down with 1 second left against Furman. Kid hits a 3 from just inside the half, and boom, rips his shirt off, walks off the court. One of the greatest things you've seen. So what I thought was, maybe that's their one shining moment. That's it. But the more I've looked into Chattanooga, it's a pretty good team. So again, they won the SoCon. 27 wins this season. That's a pretty good conference. They have 8 or 9 teams top to bottom that are certainly capable. And they have some high major talent in that conference. It's good basketball. So I would never sleep on the talent coming out of the SoCon. I think they're capable. I mean, we all know about Kofi Cockburn, but I just don't think Illinois is the team that they were last year without Ayo Dosunmu, who's now playing with the Chicago Bulls. So you lose your best player. They have replaced them. Brad Underwood's did a pretty good job replacing with, other high major guys. But something tells me Chattanooga in this, number 46 in the country in field goal percentage versus number 103 to Illinois. So David Jean-Baptiste, 6-year guy. So, and then they got another guard as well. It's another 5-6-year guy. So they've got 25-year-old men. The moment is not going to be too big for the Mocs going up against Illinois. So, certainly on the points, take the Mocs +7.5. And I'm going to put them in my bracket as going through. This is one of the upsets. We all know a 13 is going to get a 4, and I think this is it. So another game where I'm certain of a mid-major upset over a high-major program, number 10, Loyola-Chicago, the Missouri Valley Conference champs, versus number 7, The Ohio State. Only 19-11. The Buckeyes have been so inconsistent this year. They're backing in. I believe they lost 7-9 heading into the Big Ten tournament. And Loyola-Chicago, 25-7 on the season. So we all saw their run last year to the Sweet 16. They returned 95% of their roster. The only guy that really lost was Cameron Krutwig, who, obviously their best player, their head coach Porter Moser, goes over to Oklahoma. Drew Valentine, the assistant, takes over, has been there for a couple years. Drew is an outstanding coach. And this is a guy, I talked about this in last week's pod. Give it 5-8 years. This is a guy you're going to see in the conversation to be Michigan State's heir apparent to Tom Izzo, whatever. North Carolina, Kansas, Duke. He's going to be in the conversation for those kind of jobs, only 30 years old. They've got Lucas Williamson on the team. He's their leading scorer, first team all MVC guy, and defensive, stud as well. He's been defensive player of the year. He's going to get a chance to play in the league. They're I believe they're the number 10 three-point shooting team in the country. Ohio State, again, just inconsistent. Obviously, they have some players. As far as the betting line, this game is a pick, which is pretty shocking. But hey, Ramblers all day. We all know Sister Jean and company. They're going to have the karma on their side. So, this is a team, Loyola-Chicago, I have watched intimately. I'm on the Missouri Valley Coaches Call every Monday morning. So I talk to these coaches every single Monday morning and hear the other journalists and get all the inside information. This is a game that I got down on. Ramblers easy over the Ohio State Buckeyes. So, one of the play-in games is number 12, Wyoming versus Indiana. The Hoosiers actually 4-point favorites. So this is one of my favorite bets of the tournament. I love Wyoming. They're 25-8 right now out of the Mountain West. Indiana just 20-13. And then the winner will go to face the 5 seed St. Mary's. So Wyoming, at one point this season, I remember watching them. They were 20-3. They had one of the longest winning streaks in college basketball. Kind of stuttered down the stretch. I believe they were 5-5 in their last 10, which isn't good, but the Mountain West, the best mid-major conference in college basketball, they have 4 teams in the tournament. So it just tells you the level of competition. So you need to be aware of Graham Ike. He leads Wyoming with 19.6 points per game, 9.6 rebounds. He's the big guy. And then they've got Hunter Maldonado, who's their point guard, exceptional. So they've got dudes. I love Wyoming +4. I think Wyoming wins outright. Not only do I think they win outright, I think they get past them and then beat St. Mary's. So St. Mary's 25-7 out of the West Coast Conference. So they've got the number 5. They're number 5 in strength of schedule in the country. That's because they've played Gonzaga 3 times this year, the number 1 team in the country. So that's going to put a slant on things. Aside from the Zags, the rest of the West Coast Conference, painfully average. I'm not sold on San Francisco. We'll get to that. BYU trash. And so you take the Zags out of the West Coast Conference, who the hell are they playing? And so I'm going to roll with Wyoming, not only to beat Indiana, but to also beat the 5 seed St. Mary's to get through. Wyoming's head coach, Jeff Linder, as good as it comes in college basketball. He's really outstanding. They can shoot the 3, and then they also have, the big guy underneath, Ike, that if the 3's not working, the big man can work. As mentioned, almost 20 points a game. So this guy, Jeff Linder, at the end of the season, I think he's going to be in the mix for some of the high major jobs, maybe LSU, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there, but Wyoming, as good as it comes, they'll get through both of those matchups.